personal. It's personal between me and you, and I'm going to do you some serious harm, you big stiff idiot.
The Untouchable True School Sports Empire proudly presents something the boxing games are missing. Hey, what's going on? It's your boy BT, and I came here to talk some boxing with the thousands of True School Sports subscribers. Now, this is the official Tony Harrison, or better yet, this is the official Tszyu, because you gotta remember who the A side is here.
Australia boxing.
Tszyu versus Tony Harrison post-fight review, and the result of the fight is a devastating, unforgettable, star-making performance as Tszyu stops, folds, destroys, and beats the brakes off of Tony Harrison with the ninth round stoppage. So, Pops, before I even say what I want to say, because I have a lot to say, what did you make of Tszyu versus Tony Harrison?
Listen, man, there's always that saying that says actions speak louder than words. And boy, Tszyu showed, not by running his mouth, but actually going in that ring and folding the fuck out of Tony Harrison. And I'll be the first one to say I picked Tony Harrison. I thought Harrison was gonna go out there and jab, was gonna do his thing. But I mean, Tszyu just folded him like a motherfucking folded chair, and they showed tonight. So respect to Tszyu, respect to Tony Harrison. He didn't come out and fight what we expected from him, but he still put his fight in there. But this night belongs to Tszyu and Australian boxing.
And it's a great performance for Tim, because I've heard it for the last couple of years as Tim's names begin to become more relevant in boxing. From, you know, the people here stateside, that Tszyu's not that good, especially after the Goucher fight. Tim's still not that good. So I would hope that a lot of people in America that don't like Tszyu or didn't believe in him now. Because he took Jermell Charlo's best win, the most crowning achievement of his career, beating Tony Harrison in the rematch, and he made him look like a D-level fighter. Now, I'll get back to Tszyu in a second, but I really want to take some time to talk about Tony Harrison, because I'm like, to say I'm disappointed would even just be, it would be a colossal understatement. Like, this is one of the most disappointing performances in a big fight I've seen from a fighter in a long time.
What would you say was the reason why Harrison didn't come here as prepared as he should have been?
I don't know. I'm not gonna try to figure out Tony Harrison, but what I can tell you is, and I'm not trying to put him down. He's a high level fighter. I love Tony Harrison. I think he's been great for boxing. So don't take this as like me downing him, because I'm not trying to down him. I'm only just telling the truth. But you look at his career. When he was a prospect and he fought Willie Nelson on ESPN, he got knocked out because he switched off or whatever. Same thing with Jerry Hurd. Same thing in the Charlo rematch, and the same thing now. This is who he is. He's a skillful fighter.
You're saying big fights.
He's a skillful top world level fighter who's good enough to compete with the best. And on a great night where he's got everything working, he can beat you. But ultimately, he falls just short of being the top guy, beating the top guys in the division. That's who he is. That's who he's proven to be. And there's nothing wrong with that, because at the end of the day, Tony Harrison is the former WBC champion of the world, and that's something that many people will never be in their life. So he can hold his head high, and I hope, and I'm praying to God, I hope that this is the end of his career, because he doesn't need to fight. I think he's gone as far as he's gonna go. If he continues to fight, they're just gonna put him in there with like these top 54 pounders, and he don't need that. I think Tony Harrison has a lot to give boxing as a trainer. I think he could pass down all that knowledge he got from like being around Emmanuel Stewart and sparring Andy Lee as a young man and sparring Golovkin and being part of his camps. I think there's so much knowledge in that head of his, and boxing kind of needs him, especially in America. We needed Tony Harrison to pass down that knowledge to the next generation. So it's been a great career. I hope that's the last we see him in the ring, because he looked very lethargic in there, very repetitive. I didn't see the life in the legs of his. I didn't see really what I was looking for from Tony Harrison. Now for Tszyu, let's get to him.
Tszyu, he came out.
Tszyu, I was impressed with his IQ. I was overly impressed with his IQ, because there would be times where Tony Harrison would shoot a straight right hand and land on him, and Tszyu would just counter immediately. Like he had answers. He had counters for the counter. He could see to be a step ahead of Tony Harrison all night, and it got to a point where he began to outbox Tony Harrison, outthink Tony Harrison, and that's not something we've ever seen in his losses. The guys knock him out, but it's not because they're outthinking him. They're knocking him out because maybe they're strong guys, and they're just bigger, and they just wait for the later rounds. No, he was literally outboxing Tony Harrison. Then he knocked Tony Harrison out, and he kind of had like the finish. he had was kind of like it's like David Benavidez-esque. He's hitting him with like a barrage of punches.
Wow,
And so it was. I saw tonight for the first time in a long time, and please don't play on my emotions. But for the first time in a long time, I think I saw a guy at 154 in this division full of, you know, good fighters, top fighters, but mostly B-level, B-plus guys. I saw a guy who might actually be a complete fighter.
Yeah,
a guy who actually has all the tools.
Yeah, I think one thing that you told me about him, that when you met him and everything, that because I thought that the pressure from the crowd,
no
the pressure
pressure,
from the country,
no pressure.
Brendan said, he told me, Pops, all that shit means shit to him. He just wants to get him in the fight, and he showed it tonight.
Yeah, Tszyu. When I met Tim Tszyu in LA, in Las Vegas, I should say, at the Left Hook, Right Hook boxing gym. That was the name of the gym, I think. I think that's what it's called. In Vegas, at his media workout for Terrell Boucher. He was so even keeled. The guy is not bothered by anything. He doesn't give a shit. If you think you're gonna bother him, you're not. If you think you're gonna get into his head like Tony Harrison tried, you're not. If anything, it actually makes things worse because he sits there and he nods his head, and you think you're getting this mental edge on him, and then
he said,
and then when he knocks you the fuck out, then that's when he talks.
Because he said that.
So it's funny. At the end of the fight, the roles reversed. Tony Harrison had nothing to say at the end of the fight.
Nothing.
And Tim Tszyu had everything to say at the end of the fight.
Yeah, and I think what I like about Tim Tszyu was he came out there and when they asked him prior to this fight tonight, they asked him on their channels, they say, hey, you know, Harrison talking all this shit about you, this is that. He says, listen, if you put your hand in my heart, it's still beating the same nice and slow. Yeah. So basically, but I go very, very back to what BT said, that he pressure with the lights and the show that's not the type of fighter he is. No. I wonder if his father was like that when he fought.
Calm, no nonsense. But now look, now not only is he gonna be in line to fight Charlo, but now I actually think Tim Tszyu, with that experience fighting Tony Harrison and the confidence of beating a guy like Tony Harrison, he's even more ready to fight Charlo now. Yeah. So I swing it over to you, Pops, and I'll answer them in the video. Tszyu Charlo, what do you think of it? Who you favorite?
I think it's gonna be a great fight. I would just say this, and I like Mr. Keep Running Your Mouth, Jermell Charlo, very confident fighter, always a fighter that has a chip on his shoulder. So I see that. But if he's coming to this fight, and thanks because he didn't fight Harrison again, and he's fighting Tim Tszyu, and it's gonna be a walk in the park, he got something coming from him.
And if he thinks this is gonna be a walk in the park, let him know it's gonna be a dangerous fast park he's going to, because Tim Tszyu showed tonight that he might really be the future of this division. He might be the guy in the division. So listen, I'm gonna say it like this. I hope we don't get no bullshit with the scheduling of this fight, because if you guys remember, Charlo beat Castaño. It was like in April or May of last year,
right?
And they try to schedule that for like January. Like they scheduled like 7 months in advance. Don't do that. Like, try to schedule the fight at a reasonable time. I'm talking like within the next 3 to 4 months. Las Vegas, and make it a big fight. Las Vegas, MGM Grand, you know, or Mandalay Bay, somewhere big, somewhere prestigious.
Not the Armor.
Not the Armory, a real venue in Las Vegas. Give this fight the treatment it deserves, because it's a great fight. It's an explosive fight, and it's a fight that I'm definitely interested in attending and being at, and you know.
And I will say, if a lot of Americans don't know nothing about Tim Tszyu, tonight should be an eye opener to a lot of people to realize.
Coming out party.
Yeah, come out party that Tim Tszyu is here to stay. If you don't know the history on his father, how great his legacy was, not saying that his son's gonna be the same way, but guess what? It's in the bloodline. And I'm willing to. I'm gonna say it right here. I'm gonna ride with the Australian Tiger. I'm gonna ride with him. You know why? Because he showed me his poise. He didn't just throw crazy punches. He threw calculated punches. And if Charles thinks he's gonna come in there and he's gonna get a quick shot or right and you know what I'm saying, and wobble like he did Harrison for the last minute and they'll attack him, that's the only way he's gonna win. He's got a thing on coming if he doesn't sit there and doesn't if he underestimate this cat right here from Australia, because this cat is here and he's here to stay.
So yeah, that's our thoughts on the fight. You guys can let us know yours down below. Tim Tszyu is here and he's here to stay. So let us know what you guys think in the comments down below. Make sure you guys take the time to subscribe. And like I say in every single one of these videos, you can love me or you can hate me, but I'm just a kid from Daniel. So until next time, take it, guys. Thank you for watching another video on the untouchable True School Sports Empire. For more great boxing content just like this video, click right here and make sure you subscribe. Much love from sunny South Florida.